I'm Jason, I make comics, and I'm on a mission. Join me in my continuing journey of leveling up.
Welcome, comics readers, makers, and fans. I'm Jason Lapidus from Group of 7 Comics. In this episode, I'm taking a quick look at a comic book haul. I picked up these comics either to fill in some spots in my back issue collection and or to glean some knowledge out of the work of very experienced creators, creators that inspire me, from Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario, about 30 minutes north of Toronto. Before I get into that, Group of 7, A Most Secret Tale, features 7 famous historical figures on a secret fictional mission to save the world, and Peregrines, Flights, Fiends, and Fisticuffs, featuring 4 secret agents undercover as frontline nurses that protect us from the unknown and the unbelievable. Written by Chris Sanigan, art by yours truly, both in print and digital formats. You can get them at group7comics.ca. Thank you for your support. I was collecting X Factor back when it was happening, back in the mid-'80s. Marvel's 25th anniversary. I was very excited to get on board with an X-Men series from the beginning. It felt really exciting to me at the age of about 10. I had probably had under 100 comics to my entire collection at that point in time. So being able to sort of follow along every month and be on at the ground floor, knowing that Marvel was sort of a big thing, it was very exciting. Looking back, these particular issues of X Factor are nostalgic for me, and again, filling in gaps as opposed to, maybe creatively valuable. Let's put it that way. Interior art by Jackson Geiss, and finished art by Joe Rubenstein. Very house style, highly competent stuff, but not my preference in any way. And I'll look through this again, in detail at some point. But I'm in no rush. Yeah, it's nice to see comics on newsprint, but there you go. X Factor number 8. So I got 7, 8, and 12. This one, we got a cover from Mark Silvestri. And in terms of timing, this is sort of like preliminary work before he gets on the X-Men title. He's doing breakdowns in this issue too. So he heads over to be the regular artist on X-Men shortly after this, right? During that time period, we've got John Romita Jr. and Rick Leonardi, and then quickly Silvestri gets on there after they do the Mutant Massacre. Another great, typical, in a good way, cover from Silvestri where he's making use of that, that triangle shape. Really cool. I back then, loved, and still love today, when there are characters of different shapes and sizes. A big schmoz, a big mishmash of characters is very exciting. Great body language on that Jean Grey. Cool to see that mask, that half mask that she's kind of wearing at that point. I love just the hand gesture from Pyro. He doesn't have his gear drawn on this one, and so it's as if he's generating the heat himself, but those of you in the know, I feel like such a geek saying this, but it's okay. He's not able to generate fire on his own, right? He can only manipulate fire. So it's kind of fun that it's sort of maybe an error, but it's not really a big deal. One of the last issues with Angel with his organic feather wings. And I was a big fan as a kid of these costumes because I liked the thematic unity of them and the variation of colors on the different characters on X Factor, the original X-Men. But looking at them now, design-wise, although I really do like the iconography of that big X on their chest, having it as a giant onesie, a skin-tight onesie, is a no-go with me. You got to break it at the waist. And something else somewhere else. So I would love a hybrid between this costume and the Jim Lee Cyclops, where you got a couple, straps and some pouches and a belt, and his harness makes the X, along with maybe some piping. His harness making a Y, although it's beloved, it does not, it is not brand cohesive to have you're the leader of your X team wearing the letter Y on his chest. It looks cool, but it's off-brand to me, and I've always wanted to see it reimagined to more in line with that. I love the open hair on him too. We get here interior arts on this one go to, I think, Shoemaker. Yeah, Terry Shoemaker and Ruben Sino inks. With issue 12, again, these are the ones that were just available that I was able to get at Wayside. We can see already that Walt Simonson is getting involved. He's on the title, right? They've redone that logo. And I do find like this logo really works better than that one. But that pose from Beast, man, getting the feet above the head, fantastic. Like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man energy in there. Very cool to see. And I'm not suggesting that he's influenced by that necessarily, but this is a great direction to take Beast. Really, really explosive. And Silvestrion pencils. No! No, you won't cut off my wings. Oh my goodness, poor guy. The drama. Omar at Wayside put this one in my hands knowing that I'm a big Mike Mignola fan. The series Marvel Fanfare is basically a collection of what's called inventory stories. Marvel has a pile, or back then had a pile of comics, a pile of stories that were ready to publish at any time. And they would basically gather up over time, and then you could put them all together in Marvel Fanfare or whatever and get them out there when you didn't need them anywhere else. It was also a good opportunity to try out new artists, just fill in some, explore a little bit with certain characters. So this is a particular Namor story. Like I said, I love Mike Mignola, Peter Craig Russell on inks. If I had to guess, this is published in 89. This feels like it is a little bit older than 89 in terms of his work. So maybe 86, 87. Mignola by 89 is, I think, already on to, right, Gotham by Gaslight is done. And he's on to maybe Cosmic Odyssey, I think, around then. And I just see a few of the earlier looks from him that remind me of his work on Alpha Flight a little bit. Maybe some of that DC stuff on like Superman. Anyway, great to see some Mignola. Lots to always learn from him and the way he stages his panels and creates atmosphere. There's another story in here from art from Greg Brooks, who I don't know, but a Fantastic Four story. Neat. Always nice to collect a few Marvel Fanfare. The real reason I went digging in the bins anyway is because I'm a huge fan of Kirby, of Jack Kirby, but I'm also a really big fan of Kirby on newsprint. So whereas this original issue that this story would have been featured in, which it says here inside, Thor 146, I would not be able to get Thor 146 for $1, but I can go in the dollar bin and find a reprint from 1975 of, Marvel Spectacular. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not so interested in the date this was originally printed. I'm much more interested in reading it, and reading it on newsprint if possible, even if it is a second or third iteration of this comic. But getting to see some Jack Kirby inked by Vince Colletta on newsprint is itself a joy, whether it is, like I said, from 65 or 75, it doesn't change anything really for me. It's already got its brownish hue, and I love seeing it in this form. So it feels to me just as meaningful to see this work on newsprint in the 70s as it would in the 60s. And again, $1. So I can't go wrong there. Cool. Can't wait to read that thing. And now we're talking about Kirby's work being done in the 70s. I love this idea that Kirby works on Captain America in the 1940s, in the 1960s, and returns to the character again in the 1970s. If you want to play the game, he works on Cap in the Golden Age, the Golden Age, the Silver Age, and the Bronze Age of comics. And each of his three versions of Captain America are distinct. And I find that to be, as a creator, I find it to be really fascinating to see, analyze the differences. Frank Giacoya on inks on this one, Captain America and the Falcon. And I do have a growing collection of those couple couple years where he's back writing and drawing Captain America. Very cool to see. Even though it gets nicely abstract, Jack does incredible work, and I have so much to learn from it. And again, newsprint. So good. Can't wait to read through this one. So I got this 197. I got issue 208 as well. Strange view to have. This is a weird read. It looks as if we're seeing the back of this creature and its head is tipping backward, perhaps. I don't know how to read that properly, and that's a criticism, right? That the character doesn't read clearly. I don't know what's going on there. But I'm interested, and I will read all about the River of Death in Captain America 208. Captain America and Falcon 208. I would love it if there was ever a Jack Kirby design of Falcon as if it was his own character. I believe the first designs of this iteration of the Falcon, like in this costume, are from John Romita Sr., and he has a different sensibility than Kirby in terms of character design. But I wonder what it would look like if we could almost reverse engineer a Kirby costume for the Falcon. But I do love seeing them as a duo. It is super cool. I also picked up another copy of Captain America King Size Annual number 3. More 70s stuff. Some Kirby Eternals. I have read the Eternals, and, it's a comic. Crazy concepts. I'm here for it. All the silliness. But again, getting Kirby on newsprint is why I'm here. And lettered and inked by Mike Royer. Come on. So good. Everybody has their guy as to who their favorite Kirby inker is. And I gotta say, seeing Mike Royer over Jack Kirby pencils is probably my favorite. And Glynis Ween, I think, on colors. Is that who it said? Those are really good. Yeah, Glynis Ween on colors. Cool. I read some of this in paperback and trade paperback, and of course the colors are so oversaturated. But look how gorgeous that is. Wow. I picked up issues 8 and 9. And then I got a couple issues of Micronauts, Michael Golden's Micronauts. I don't have a big collection of this yet. I think I have 3 or 4 issues. But again, if I'm coming across them in the dollar bin. Holy smokes, I just realized this now. This spaceship, my brother and I had as kids. And you could take off these wings. They were a handgun. And they would shoot almost like a lollipop. And I actually still have about 50% of it. A lot of little pieces went missing over the decades. But yeah, this was a toy that I actually had. That's so cool. I got to show my brother. Anyway, I've been a fan of Michael Golden since I was a kid. His penciling looks like nothing else. And I have not read this series yet. But I figured I'd slowly gather up as many of the single issues as I could before I dive in. Very cool. I had the pleasure of meeting Michael Golden this summer at Fan Expo Canada. And I say the word pleasure specifically because I did enjoy the experience, and I enjoyed having a story to tell about talking to the guy. He was not nice to talk to at all. But I enjoyed it nonetheless because I had zero expectation. So it was kind of funny to meet somebody in his position that is not like a friendly guy to his fans. Crazy. I also had that. I had a Spider-Man piggy bank that was a bust. And I've never seen it in any other form or heard it ever mentioned. But I used to use it as like a giant statue during play when I would play G.I. Joe. I had that as like a giant, I imagined it was like a giant cobra totem that everyone would stand in front of when they were listening to Cobra Commander talk. And I would make a big cobra fort for the Joes to raid. Anyway, looking forward to reading through those. And that's what I picked up at Wayside. And there's a lot I can learn from these various creators, and I'm always happy to fill in the ranks of my back issues. These kinds of episodes are also a lot easier to film and easier to talk about than going a little more in depth. If you like seeing back issues that I find and what's kind of getting me excited, let me know in the comments section below, because I can continue doing them, or I can scrap the idea altogether. A lot of it will be based on your response. So please do me a favor, click like on the video, subscribe to the channel, throw a comment in the comment section below. See you next time.